This time around we're going to be making puffy paws, which are like regular paws except they have about an inch worth of foam on the top. So it makes them look a lot more squishy and cute and bigger than regular paws. So yeah, let's show you how to do that kind of stuff. Right, so this is what the final result should look like. Very cute, whatever. So we start off with a pair of gloves like these. The breathable the better. So these ones are like a knitted kind, so your fingers can breathe a bit easier. And then you want to cut that out on a piece of foam, like so. I do 4 little pawsies, toesies, whatever you want to call them, and trace around that. And I would take my glove off then and chop the entire thing out like so. Do 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 do. And then once you've done that, we're going to start gluing it onto the top of your hand. Now I don't put it on the bottom of my hand because then you won't be able to pick things up very easily, like a water bottle or whatever it would be. So yeah, I glue it to the top of the hand. And here you can see I'm putting on 2 pairs of gloves because the person I'm making this for, his hand is a bit bigger than mine. So if you want to bulk out the hand a little bit, I suggest you put 1 glove on, or if he's quite a bit bigger, maybe 2 gloves on top of your hands, and then put the main glove there. Right, so first off I'm going to glue my 2 middle fingers together. As you can see, you just want to do a light amount of glue, because if you do a heavy amount it's going to go right through the glove to the second glove, or your fingers if you've got your fingers under there, and that will kind of hurt. So just do a very light amount of glue and then kind of squish it together, and like so. Right, and then I line up the foam on the top of the hand just to make sure I know where I'm putting it. So I like to do the double finger first. So I do the entire thing with a light coating of hot glue, like so. Get that bit of thingy out of the way, and then put your fingers on top. And I just kind of push on it very gently. If you feel a large amount of heat coming through that, you're probably pushing too hard, so don't do that. Just push gently. Yes. Very nice. For the next part, I do the pinky. It doesn't really matter which one you do, if you do your pointer or your pinky first. But I've made on purpose the pinky finger and the pointer finger a little bit larger than regular, because these are puppy paws and you want them to all look kind of like the same size. So when I glue this part on, I only glue the edge closest to the fingers that are joined. And then I'll show you later on how I bulk out the sides of these fingers. So yep, just glue it like so. And when we go to the other side, we just do the exact same thing, but on the opposite side. So yeah, I'm always doing the parts that are closest to the middle fingers. Woohoo, so exciting. Such joy. Again, you're doing a light coating of hot glue. Oh, hurry up already. I should have sped this up. Yes, you glue it on. Yes, good job. Okay, now we're doing the thumb, I think. The thumb is a little bit different from the other 2 fingers because I kind of glue it in the center. Again, it doesn't overly matter so much. Just do what you think is right, you know? Develop your own style. Yeah. And squish that off. If any of the little parts are kind of peeling up around the tip, I just add a little bit more hot glue and push them down. Right, once those bits are attached, you can move on to doing the, I don't know, what do you call the top of your hand? Yeah, the top of your hand part. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. You just slather it with more glue. The glove ends up being probably 10% glue at the end of it. Right, so here I am filling in the gaps for the pointer finger and the pinky finger. Just grab a piece of foam and squish that on in there. So they're roughly the same size now as the pointer, as the conjoined fingers in the middle. Lovely. What are we doing now? We are grabbing... doing the other side. So boring. Hurry up! Right, now that that's all done, just have a little play, because why not? That's always fun. And then we'll get to the chopping. So grab your very sharp scissors or they actually don't have to be that sharp. Foam cuts pretty easily even with slightly dull scissors, but I suppose the sharper the better. So yeah, here I am just cutting around the edges and cutting in between the little fingers as well. You just want to dome the entire thing off so it's nice and flowy. Yeah, I like to do lots of little trimmings like this. And here we are. They are complete. Wonderful. How amazing is that? Next, we want to grab the tape and your paw. And you want to grab the tape and cover the entire paw in masking tape. Yes, like this. This is how you make the pattern. So you want to cover, the entire thing in masking tape. And then you get a black marker and draw around the hand shape. That's alright, I'll show you what the pattern looks like afterwards. Oh yeah, you also want to make the pattern a bit longer, so you want to extend it down from the wrist a bit further, because you don't want to have really short fur at your wrists. So yeah, this is what the pattern looks like for my one. This is for the thumb, the pointer finger, the double finger, and then the pinky. So if your pattern roughly looks like this, then you did it correctly. So yeah, that's for the top of the paw, and this is for the extending part like I was trying to explain, but this is probably easier to explain because you want it to come down probably 15 centimeters extra is best. So here's all my pieces cut out because I already did this and I didn't record me doing it, but as you can see, the fingers are a shorter fur and then it goes longer on the cuffs because it looks so much nicer that way. Yeah, you definitely want the shorter fur for the fingers, otherwise they just look like fuzzy balls of nothingness. You're not going to be able to see the fingers if you use long fur. With this one I decided to hand sew it. Sometimes you can machine sew, that part's machine sewn as you can tell, but for attaching the actual palm of the hand to it, I decided to hand sew. You can probably machine sew, but I don't know, for some reason this time I did the hand sewing. All these little parts are hand sewn as well. And when you go to add the nails, I just put a tiny little hole right next to the sewn part. I haven't done them yet, but I will show you doing them later. Actually, I didn't show you putting the nails in because I forgot to do that, but you'll see it later. Right, so here's the puffy paw, all sewn together, and I just slipped it over the top of the foam paw because just to test out to make sure it looks good, and yeah, it looks fabulous. See, these are the little slips I made. Just get a pair of scissors and make tiny little holes before putting it on because it's easier. And then when you're making the paw pads, I cut open the center and the center of these parts, so when I'm making the paw pads and I want to attach them, I just glue around the insides first to make sure that the actual fur fabric is attached to the foam. Otherwise it'll just be very loose on the inside. So yeah, you cut a little hole first, glue on the inside, and stick that fur down. Yeah, on all 4 fingers and the center. And then there's the edging that I will put a little nice hem around. Here I just glued the inside rim around the fabric so that it would stay in place. And next you want to grab your patterns for making these. Oh yeah, these are for making the paw pads. Alright, so you need your flexible foam. It's about, a centimeter if that thick. And you want to grab some nice soft fabric. This is a minky fabric that's got like a little tiny bit of a fur going in one direction. And then, grab your pattern and stick it on there and cut that out. Easy peasy. Get your nice sharp scissors again and chop right around that. Yeah. I also trim around the edges, like you can see, just to dome it over, make it nice and smooth on the top. You only have to do this to one side, not the other side, because the other side will be glued down to the paw, so it doesn't really matter. Lovely. And then make sure your minky fur, if it's a minky fur, is facing the right direction, so it's not like going sideways or upside down. Not that you can go upside down on a paw circle because it's a circle, but just cut around that. I give it about 1 centimeter around the entire edging is normally about enough, and then I flip the paw, the little squishy thing, over so that the smooth domed side is facing down, and put my 3 squirts on. So I always start with doing 3 little squirts and then pushing the fur over the edges like so. 1, 2, and wait a second, try tiny bit, and then I finally stick the third part over. If you try and do all 4 at once, it just gets a little bit too messy, so I only ever do 3 at the same time. And once that's all solid, you just squirt the last part on. Yeah. Perfect. This is the next part that gets a little bit tricky. You've got to do it fast, but you also have to make sure you're pushing all the fabric edges down at the same time so that the whole thing is nice and curved. If you push only the center of it down, then it's not going to look curved, it's going to like have pointy edges. So how do you do that is you grab your glue, you want to stick it right to the edges all over, as close as you can to the other sides that had glue on it. And then I push down in the center quickly, and then the center of the other 2 centers that are left, if that makes any sense. I'll show it to you again in a second. But yeah, I just keep kind of pushing it down and making sure all of the wavy fabric bits are down and none of them are like making a corner anywhere, because as soon as it starts making a corner it doesn't really look oval anymore. So here I'm kind of showing it again, hopefully it makes sense. See, squish it down, and then any of the little bits that are bubbling up I kind of make a crease down the center of them again. It takes a little bit of practice to do this, but maybe test it out on a couple of tester paws first before making it your main one. Once that's all done, you've got your lovely paw, hopefully with the fur or mink fabric, whatever, going in the right direction. I forgot to show me doing it onto the white fur, so I'll just do it on this piece of brown fur instead, which is the same length pretty much as the white one I was using. You want to trim out the fur, because if you just glued that straight onto there, that's going to be wobbling around all over the place and just not look good or feel secure. So you want to trim out a, what do you call it, a paw finger? I guess it's a paw finger sized hole, oval shape into the fur. And then just get your paw, make sure it's the right size, but this one wasn't, so I had to cut some more. But once it is the right shape, then that's when you'll go ahead and glue the glue onto the paw and then onto the thing. So make sure all the fabric is out of the way. That's what I was doing before, pushing it all out. And then squish it with glue. When you're doing the edges, you really want to make sure that you're not going too far over. Otherwise, when you put the paw onto the fabric, the glue is going to squish out, and that's not going to look good. So when in doubt, maybe not do as much. I've kind of got this down to a T, as I've done probably over, gosh, 400, 500 of these. So yeah, there we go. Push the fur out of the way and squish them down in there. And when you're squishing them down, you kind of want to, I don't know, just test it out. Test it out. Yeah, that's the only way you're going to learn, is by doing it. So when I'm squishing them down like that, I'm not doing like an excessive amount of force, I'm just doing the perfect amount. And then yeah, here, I'm checking the edges to make sure that I didn't squish the hot glue all over the place. As you can see in this area, there's a bit of a gap, but we'll come back to that later with a little bit more glue and secure that on. So here it's all dry now, and I'm adding a little bit of glue around the edges. And it looks like I'm getting it all over the fur, but then when I fold it back up, you'll see that it's not. It's actually right in that center, and once it's folded over, you're not going to see that at all. But it hides that little gap perfectly. So yeah, do that around the entire paw, make sure there's no more gaps. If you cut out the perfect amount of fur, you normally don't end up with any of those gaps. It just really depends on how well you did it. Here I'm doing the nap, what do you call it, hem or whatever, around the edges of the paw where you slide your hand in through. So this is a bias tape, I think it's called, and yep, you just fold that in half like so. I'm just demonstrating it on a smaller piece because I already did it. I forgot to record it. I get so carried away when doing these paws that I forget to record. But here we go. So it just fits over like so, and then I stick that through the sewing machine and sew it together. I sew the black thing together first and then do the entire thing around the paw, is how I normally do it. So yeah, it's like a donut when I'm doing it. And then I sew the donut onto the paw. That sounds amazing. Ta-da! Fabulous! Hooray! They are finally done! Yeah, shake those fingers around. Hooray! And they feel adorable, like when you're wearing them, you just wanna touch your face with it. Ah, so good. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Until next time, I'll see you later.